Hey, I'm just giving people a chance to come in. Just giving people a chance to come in because we got a lot to discuss. And I'm going to keep hitting this. The only reason I'm showing up like this is because we have, there's an internet outage where I am. And it's not back on yet. They have not fixed it yet. But I didn't want to not do a show because we need to talk about this, and plenty of people go live on their phones. I know this is not the norm. When you go live on your phone, you can't really pre-set it up like I would be able to normally. This is why the show was not posted prior to, because this outage been going on for hours and hours and hours. So I wasn't able to post the show. But put a 1 in the chat if you see me just fine and you hear me just fine. Go ahead and get the likes up. We're not doing trolls today because I'm not able to set it on subscribers only at this point. The functions are limited when you're doing live from your phone. YouTube need to do something about that. But okay, good. A lot of you Negroes ain't gonna make it. Yeah, it's gonna be one of them shows. A lot of you Negroes is not gonna make it. You're not gonna make it. It's gonna be, they gonna be them bust you upside your head before you realize what's going on. They gonna have to literally come bust you upside your head. I'm not playing with y'all today. Charlie Kirk's death has exposed the Black community once again for the foolishness that we like to get into. I'm going to tell you why Black people are in it. There was not a single Black person that perpetrated any crime surrounding Charlie Kirk's death. The shooter was white. The shooter was a white, Caucasian male. I'm not even buying the propaganda that he was gay, that he was liberal. That's just a scapegoat. And you Negroes always let these people give you a scapegoat, and then you just run with whatever narrative they tell you to run with, or whatever perspective they tell you to look at something. You look at it right from that perspective. That was a conservative, straight white male. The reason why Black people are inserted into it is because a lot of y'all, in my opinion, when this story first broke, the vast majority of Black people were apathetic. Were apathetic to the whole thing. They was like, oh man, that's crazy. Most Black people hit you with the, that's crazy. Moved on. You let white folk tell you that we were somewhere in the middle of the street running parades and celebrating about this man. You let the same white media that spin every story and try to pivot in every way convince you, and you ain't seen nobody do nothing. They basically let them tell it. We was in the streets And we was not doing no such a thing. And and there were you with the black skinned individuals that was so interested in trying to appease massa. No, massa, we would never do nothing like that. We's good black folk. And we would never do nothing like that. No, Charlie Kirk was a good man now. And we would never say nothing about that now. We never would do. Oh, y'all got in the middle of the street and boo-hoo and cry. You was appeasing and trying to kiss so much butt. For your massa. Trying to convince them that, oh, no, boss, we take the high road. We takes the high road. We's good black folk. We's good black God-fearing folk. And we would never, ever, ever do nothing like that. Come on, y'all now. Don't get these white folk riled up now. That's what you would do. That's why black people is in it. Because white people would have loved to have a good scapegoat for this. They was looking for a scapegoat. They wanted a scapegoat. They either wanted a Muslim to be doing it, somebody outside of their camp that they could pin all their blame on and put all their energy towards. But lo and behold, you can't make it up. God said, no, it's one of y'all. Now who you fighting? Who you fighting back against now? You got a battle cry for who? Who you got a battle cry for? It's one of y'all. They just don't like the mirror. These folks just don't like that the mirror is put on them. The whole world is seeing this white on white crime. And it's ugly. Them school shootings happen right behind it and all of that. And it's white folk doing each other dirty in these streets. Don't want the whole world to start asking questions. You know what's going on in these white homes? Because white folk always feel like they got the superiority to point fingers at everybody else's community about what's wrong with their community. They point fingers at the black community. What's wrong with the black community? All the rap music, this, that, and the third. You need to get the rap music out your house because it's too many white kids that buy all kind of rap music. They listen to Chief Keef too. What you gonna do about that? What you gonna do? You need to examine these two-parent homes that's giving rise to these school shooters. They got their daddy in the house. You said black folk have a problem because they daddy out the house. What about you white folk got y'all daddy in the house and you're raising these mass shooters? What's wrong with your household? They don't want nobody, they don't want nobody to talk about that. So they pivoted. They gave you a talking point about nobody should be deleted because of their political views or their opinions. You know, don't you agree that people should have the right to their opinion and that political violence is wrong? When in our history in this country have we been associated largely with assassinations of public figures and big figures, no matter how controversial they were? We don't have that. For everything that black people got an issue with, within themselves. Our issues is with us. But we ain't never been, you know what I'm saying, the ones that, you know, you gotta fear when a white person talk or this person talk or that person talk. You know what I'm saying? It's probably going to be, you know, they become in danger, and then it's usually black people that's going to commit the danger or that is going to perpetrate the danger. We don't do that. So why y'all on here apologizing? For what? What you do? Now I want to know what you did. Now I want to know what you did now at this point. I'm trying to see. I'm sorry if I'm missing the super chats. Thank you, 52. I ain't got my sound effects and stuff. So their job is to push as much fear as possible to us. It's a lot of weak-minded people out here that have YouTube platforms that appear to be smart, educated, and look like us. Thank you, HVAC, said Brandon Tatum and Stephen A. need a fade on site. And there was another one about HVAC. Thank you. Said there were 2 unalivings in Mississippi back to back. No media attention. A third of black people not going to make it. 2/3 ain't gonna make it. Not a third. 2/3. Let's talk about appeasement. And why in 2025, black folks still are on trying to prove to the white community that we are not the animals, the monkeys, and the heathens that they say we are. Why are you still trying to prove that? Why are you trying to prove that? We are still somebody. We are still somewhere trying to prove that we're not lazy, that we work, that we're not all criminals, that we're not all violent, that we're not all whores, that we're not all uneducated, that we're not... Why are we still trying to convince white folk that we're not the subhumans that they say we are? Why do you care? First of all, there is no version of black people that they respect on the whole. There's no version of us that they respect. When we was wearing suits and proper dresses, we was lazy and a problem, and we was uneducated and stupid. When we came out with rap and hip-hop culture and hip-hop gear, we was violent and stupid and uneducated, and look how they acting and look how they dressing. The moment that they could no longer hold chattel slavery over us, we was lazy and shiftless, and we didn't like doing no work. No matter how educated we became, no matter what accolades we would that we would accumulate, no matter what prestigious schools we attended, no matter what inventions we had, no matter what we did historically as a people in this country, there is no version of us that they have respected and said, you know what? Kudos to black people. When any of us do well, that's the only time in white America's eyes that we're individuals. They don't put that jacket on everybody else. When our geniuses come up and our highly educated people come up, they say that individual. We like that individual. They don't say, you know, black people are very smart. Black people are very, have a lot of ingenuity and things of that nature. But if one of us commits a crime, no matter how minor, if one of us does anything or anything like that, all the black people are criminals. All the black people are, ne'er-do-wells. They justified every police shooting, even that of Tamir Rice, was nothing but a little boy. He didn't do nothing. He was outside playing with his toys. Them Romans rolled up on that little boy and didn't even ask no questions. And what did they say? Well, he shouldn't have been outside playing with a gun. It looked kind of real. It might have looked real. There was a phone call made prior to. When the Romans slaughtered Philando Castile, who was not doing anything, he was cooperating. He was not being volatile. He was not upset. He wasn't arguing. He wasn't fighting. Cold-blooded. They made excuses for that. They made excuses for all of that. The point I'm trying to make is that there's no situation, there is no nuance when they see us as what they want to see us as. Ain't no nuance for that. But we like to give them a bunch of nuances and excuses. We love trying to excuse it to the point where we will be blind on purpose and deaf on purpose to everything that they say and everything that they do. That's why I say they're going to have to come bust you upside your head. They're going to have to bust you upside your head. Whoever don't think fat meat greasy, they're going to have to come bust you upside your head. And I ain't going to say nothing when they do it. So ready to appease. The other problem that got exposed upon Charlie Kirk's death was how susceptible black people have always been in this country to moral manipulation. Write it down. Moral manipulation. Somebody put moral manipulation. Moral manipulation. So ready to be seen as we're not matching energy, we're taking the high road, that they can manipulate you to not say anything and not do anything. Because in order to be good, and I promise you this ain't a shot to my Christian brothers and sisters, but they really get y'all with that good Christian stuff. They get y'all with that. Oh, they get y'all real good with that. They get y'all so good with that. They get y'all so good with that turn the other cheek. If you are a believer in God, if Jesus is your Lord and Savior, then you gotta be, You can't never match energies with nobody. You always gotta, vengeance is the Lord. Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. And we just gonna hand it over to God. And, they get y'all with that. They get y'all with that. They be getting y'all with that. My good brothers, my good Christian brothers and sisters, y'all gotta stop that. Stop that. Because being a person who fears God and who obeys God is not to be a weak person that people can step over and stomp over. That is not the meaning of that. Go back to your Bible and read who Jesus was. Go back and read it. Don't pick and choose which verses you want to read. Read the whole thing. The man that y'all say y'all is following behind to the point where y'all worship him, you better go back and figure out who he was and how he dealt with the ops. How did he deal with the ops? How he deal with them? How did he deal with the ops? Was he somewhere talking about, don't just say nothing, y'all? He told his disciples, hey, take these coins, go get you some swords, because it's about to go down over here. They get y'all, brothers and sisters, with moral manipulation. You can't match energies. God don't want you to match no energy with folks that's openly coming against you or that's openly got some foolishness that they are bringing to you. Go back to your Bible and see who God was. It's a lot of war in that book. It's a lot of fighting in that book. It's a lot of his prophets that he ordained fighting for, who had whole armies going against the ops. When it was time to do what it do, it was bloodshed in the land. Stop letting them tell y'all that you can't even say, that you cannot even speak, let alone any type of fighting or physical things. They got y'all scared to say it. They got y'all scared to say, hey, wrong is wrong. This is wrong. This is right. They have got y'all convinced that being a person that is at peace and being a person that is content is synonymous with being a pacifist. That is not the same thing. Being a peaceful person, being a person that is trying to be of God, being a person that try to do right by folk, being a person that tries to do right in this world is not synonymous with being a pacifist. You got to know when to hold them and when to fold them. You got to know when it's time to say, I'm done with it. This is why I be saying in Islam that we say whenever we see a wrong being done, we should change it with the use of our hands. Physically do something the change. Reprimand, stop the tyrants from tyranny, stop the people from transgression. Amr bil ma'ruf wa nahy anil munkar. Enjoin the people towards good, forbid them from evil. So when we see an evil being done, we transform it or we change it with the use of our hands. If we find that we are unable to change it with the use of our hands, then we should change it with the use of our tongue. Say something about it. Speak about it. Speak the truth to a lie. Speak truth to a lie. And if even you cannot do this, then at minimum, think it an evil in your heart. But that is the lowest form of faith. You're too easily morally manipulated. You let anybody come and tell you that anytime you're angry about something, anytime you dislike what is being done around you or what is being said around you or what's going on around you, that you can't really speak it because you're afraid of retribution. You're afraid of some repercussion. And somebody can come wag their finger to you and say, Now, if you was a good God-fearing Christian, you wouldn't think like that. You wouldn't say that. That's foolishness. That is BS. I don't know why y'all go for that one. Banana in the tailpipe all day. I don't know why y'all go for that. Why do y'all go for that? Why do y'all go for that? You're too afraid of losing what you think is the moral high ground. This is where the moral manipulation come in at. You're so susceptible to it because as a group of Black people collectively, we are afraid of losing the moral high ground or so-called moral superiority. Why are y'all letting these white trolls in my chat? You got folks still trying to talk about in my chat, in the comment section of the last video, trying to parse out what Charlie Kirk might have said or what he might have meant by what he said and things of that nature. If you don't know that I'm not talking about Charlie Kirk, the man, there's no way to help you. There's no way to help you. Y'all are still trying to dissect and trying to have a conversation about well, what did he mean when he said this? Well, what did he mean when he said that? Well, he was telling the truth about this thing. So, but he might have been off about this thing. I don't care. I don't care about the nuances. I could give two shorts and curlies about the nuances. See, the attempt, big tone. I don't know who your God is. Big tone of God. I don't know who your God is. And I don't care. But ain't nothing unconditional, goofball. Goofy. It ain't nothing unconditional. Nothing happens in this world unconditionally. And if you think that, you a fool. If you think it, you're a fool. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you. Jump to Dollar said Black Christians are the bees of white supremacy. Thank you again. 52 said, got them so-called black folks scared to say they believe in reparations for the black community. I'm talking about terrified. If there are any super chats that I missed, then please forgive me. I don't have my, this is not my usual thing. I usually can just go to the super chats. Too many of my people perish, not only for lack of knowledge, but you are deaf, dumb, and blind to even receive the knowledge at all, even if it is presented to you. For black people, to still not know what's going on is a travesty of major proportion, of catastrophic proportion. In 2025, believing that being strong in the Lord and being a believer in God means you have to be pacifist to the point where you have to so carefully tread. And anything beyond the most careful of words is considered doing too much, is considered losing your dignity, and it is considered stooping to, quote unquote, their level. You are letting a collective of people who have a world history, not an American history, a world history of not being good or kind or godly to nobody, tell you what goodness and godliness is and what it isn't. I need you to ponder on that. You're letting a collective of people who have historically across the world, they don't got a good track record nowhere, not even among their own. They have not spent one moment being good or godly as a collective to nobody. And you letting them dictate to you what's godliness and what's goodness and what's morality and what's the moral high ground is? Are y'all crazy or what? Y'all done lost it. My people done lost it. Y'all have lost it. This ain't enough heat to toast a piece of bread, and y'all out here tap dancing and waving your hat and doing jazz hands, trying to appease these folk. This ain't enough heat to warm a fly's behind. And you're already out here tap dancing and shucking and jiving and stepping fetching. And ain't nobody even did nothing to you. White folk ain't even did nothing to you yet. They ain't even did nothing yet. They ain't did nothing yet. They ain't did doing nothing but some posturing and talking crap and threatening to dox you. You get that threat on TikTok every day. You get that threat on YouTube every day. They ain't even doing hardly nothing. And y'all is out here shuffling and running an entire minstrel show. Oh no, we ain't doing nothing like that. We never would do nothing like that. And what if we did? And what if we did? What if we did match energy? Because they still post memes of pretty much the most high profile of Black men who have been unjustly deleted. They still laughs at that. You don't remember them dressing up their kids in Halloween as dead Black men? You remember that? Y'all scared? Y'all out here just scared. Ain't nobody saying just be reckless for no reason with your words if it ain't no intent behind it. You gotta have an intention behind what you say. If you're telling truth to power and you know what I'm saying, and you feel convicted by the Most High to speak a truth, that's one thing. Getting on social media just to be provocative for clicks and views, and that's your intent, you might get doxxed and fired out your job. You got to do things in the right energy in order to get the correct outcome. If you're going to speak truth to power and things of that nature, you got to be ready to give your life if need be, because that's usually the requirement. How many prophets of Allah was deleted? And they was talking. Some of y'all do a lot of talking about the mark of the beast, and you'll be neither able to buy nor sell and this and that. Y'all gonna fold like a lawn chair, but wait for it get to that part. Y'all don't got the backbone to resist it. Y'all don't got the backbone to resist the Dajjal when he show up. Because now is the time to separate the truth from the lie. Now is the time to separate the people that's for truth and for good and for righteousness, and the people that's still on that foolishness. And this separation is happening in multiple aspects. It's happening within the Black community of their own, within ourselves. We're doing it. It's happening outside of the Black community in other people's communities. This is why I have been telling y'all, for those of you who thought my channel was just a safe haven for you to hear a Black woman talk about the ills of Black women, surprise, surprise, surprise. I wasn't just here to only talk about that from this narrow point of view. I've been talking about a value system. I've been talking about spirituality. I've been talking about getting your mental and physical and spiritual health together. I've been talking about getting your family things together and getting those things squared away and in a stable state. I've been talking about your appearance value, your imagery, how you see yourself, how you portray yourself towards others, and how other people see you. I've been talking about your dwellings. Get your houses in order. Get your dwellings in order. I've been talking about your mobility value. Get your things together so that you can move forward. So that you can move around and have the leverage to move and do the things that you need to do within this society. I've talked about your educational value, to make sure that you're educated. It's not just formal education, but also education about how the world actually works and not your narrow point of view of how it works. We get too caught up in dichotomous thinking. It's either one way or the other. And we are too prone to compartmentalize everything and not put everything up so we can see the tapestry. We don't like looking at the whole picture. We're very much susceptible to not being able to see the forest for the trees. We cannot see the forest for the trees at all. Them trees be kicking our butt. I'll talk about your profession value. What are you doing as a profession? What is it that you are giving to the world? And what is it that you want the world to reciprocate back to you? I'll talk about leisure, how we should minimize and correct what we as a Black people think leisure actually is and what it's for. And finally, I talk about wealth and the accumulation of monetary wealth and of spiritual wealth by connecting those things to your spirituality. I'll talk about that all the time. I talk to you all about biology, culture, environment. I talk to you all about the confluence of those things, how those things interplay and intertwine with each other in order to produce the society that we see before us in all of its various aspects and in all of its various facets. For years, I've been doing this. I told you that the value system is a measuring stick for you to make sure that you are reaching a standard and that you are upholding a standard. I have even juxtaposed the 10 life value systems with the lost value system to point out in many, many instances how we live out a lost value system. And the reason that we can't get any of the outcomes or results that we are looking for is because we are dealing in a value system that does not have any spirituality. So we don't have any connection. We've lost our connection to the Most High. So we can't get anything. That's why we struggle so much. We struggle all the time with what we doing because you keep trying. If you was worried about pleasing Allah the way you worried about pleasing white folk, you would make it to heaven without a doubt. If you was as worried about pleasing the Most High as you was about pleasing the collective of white folk and what they thought about you, you would make it to heaven with flying colors. There would be no barrier between you and the heavenly pearly gates. No barrier. None. Huh? You more worried about how these folks see you and what they say about you than you are about the being that make your breath, that give you breath every day, that make your eyes see, that make that tongue wag in your mouth, that give you all the faculties that you have in order to go out here and do all the foolishness that you do, and he don't even strike you down immediately when you do it. He give you the mercy of another day. And all you can do with it is figure out how to do foolishness and disobey him. And then on the other hand, try to, we's good, niggers. We's good niggers. I usually have plenty of mods. I don't know where my mods are at. I really don't know where my mods are at. Real talk. I added Thanos as a mod so you can have some help, Umdani. Thank you so much, beloved. Y'all still running around here thinking I'm talking about Charlie Kirk and what he was doing. The fact that y'all are even arguing among yourselves, because you ain't arguing with me. The fact that you are even arguing among yourselves about, well, what did he say? Well, that don't mean nothing. And no, that ain't mean what we think it mean. What? I had somebody in my last comment video, in the comment section of my last live video talking about the guy that was up there talking about he wished it was somebody else, but it was one of them. Talking about he ain't mean white folk. He meant one of them, like somebody from Utah. So if the white man that shot Charlie Kirk had been from North Dakota, it would have been all right. Had he been from Nebraska, it would have been a different story. What do some of y'all even be talking about? This is why I don't go back and forth in the comments with you. You too dumb. You too dumb. That's why I say a lot of y'all just gonna have to get bust upside the head. I'm telling you, when it all go down for real in this country, because we are headed towards a interesting time. If we don't think we're on the precipice of the prophecies that have been laid out in the Bible and in the Quran, oh, it really ain't no helping you now. And when it go down, if you was out here tap dancing, don't knock on my door. Don't knock on my door. Because I know I was being metaphorical yesterday when I was talking about the wolf, but it was a lot of y'all didn't even know what the wolf was that I was talking about. Really? For real? For all of my Muslim brothers and sisters, we've been new for years now. The minor signs of Qiyamah are already past. We're waiting on the major signs of Yom Qiyamah at this point. We're waiting on the Mahdi. We're waiting on Dajjal. We're waiting on this stuff. We're waiting on that. That's coming down the pike next. We done covered all the minor signs. We waiting on the major signs of Qiyamah. The Muslims know of what I speak. When we say the signs of Qiyamah, we talking about generally the same thing that Christians do, the book of Revelations and the end time prophecies and things of that nature. Because the separation of the wheat from the chaff is happening within the Muslim community as well. It's happening in every community. Subculture, sub-communities, large communities, society-wise, worldwide, all of it. Thank you so very much, 52, for the major contribution. So just because you aren't scared like these weak individuals on this here app pretending to be conservative black men, we know when we know they want to be honorary white men. Yeah. And thank you, Andre said, for real, these people concerned over a guy that lied about black people commit most of the crime when the FBA table shows 69% of all crimes committed by palm color people, 26%. TCW, your stuff not being hid. I can see you. I can see you, beloved. I agree with you. Tomax said, I have black friends that are completely ignoring the Kirk thing, and I do not think that's a wise thing to do. That's the other, that would be the other spectrum of us too. Those that this ain't our business, we just because stuff is not your fault don't mean it can't be your problem. Just because things are not your fault and maybe you didn't cause them. I speak about this all the time. Just the stuff that I talk about from a personal level, expand that out. Just because certain things are not your problem, not your fault, and you did not cause them, don't mean that it can't become your problem. It can definitely be your problem, even if it's not your fault. We didn't have nothing to do with that. Yet. You got black folk having conversations with other black people. And they stepping fetching it with other black people. These people are looking for a way to pivot. The only problem is they ain't got nowhere to go because they've martyred Charlie, but his killer is among them. So it forces a mirror rather than a way to project it. They can't project it. It's coming back. This is where because the energy that they built, they was building up energy quick. They was doing it like they was going to go after whoever quote unquote did it. If it was like another group or something, they was going to go full force into that group and demolish them. They was going to do everything that they could to destroy them. But they can't do that now. Yet that energy that they gathered has to go somewhere. Is that energy can neither be created nor destroyed. It can only be harnessed and transformed. So they ain't got nobody to fight. It was a white man that did it. So they ain't got nobody to fight. They trying to conjure up, well, it was the Democrats. Let me tell you something. The Democrats and the Republicans have always been the same thing. They swapped talking points a while back. That ain't nothing but white folk internal battles. Because while black people have overwhelmingly, for the majority, voted for Democrats, the Democrats themselves, the politicians, have been white. Especially when we're talking about the federal level of the government. Especially the federal level. They white. Politicians, especially politicians on the federal level, are still majority white people. They still majority white. So all of the stuff, the bills that was being passed, Republicans was sitting there when bills was being passed. Think they wasn't sitting there? You think they ain't read them bills? You didn't think they just passed them bills? You think that the rainbow agenda was something that only one side of our government was pushing? They just doing certain things to have plausible deniability. Both of them. Both sides do that. Because if the Democrats was responsible for the let's say the propaganda of the rainbow community and things of that nature, the Republicans, if nothing else, they turned a blind eye and let it happen. You may have had a few in minority that was like, no, we don't like that, da 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 da. But they didn't stop it. The problem that's being had is that all of that foolishness they put into motion, they not exempt from the consequences of the foolishness. They put feminism in motion. They not exempt from the foolishness. They put that rainbow agenda into motion. They not exempt from the foolishness. How many of them are part of the rainbow community? The Republicans just blame stuff on the so-called liberals and the Democrats and stuff like that. It's for plausible deniability. But we didn't have nothing to do with those bills and laws and agendas and things that got pushed forth. The Republican and the Democrats are the wings of a bird, the body of the bird. They've been doing the same thing. They've been playing good cop, bad cop. They've been playing good cop, bad cop. And black people be falling for it every time. Every single time. You always got a contingency of black people that fall for good cop, bad cop. And black folk think that because they agree with this talking point or that talking point, that those people, whoever you agree with, is down for you. Listen, before I go, listen, let me tell y'all something. When white people speak out and talk about their values and how they want America to look and how they want things to go, whether you agree with their talking points or not, look me in my eyes. They not talking to you. They've never been talking to you. They're not talking to you. They talking to them. They talking to each other. They don't care whether or not you agree, disagree, find common ground, things of that nature. When they be talking to themselves. They be talking to each other. They be trying to get together their little movements and stuff like that. What do you think? What do you think Turning Point USA is about? That's not a broke organization. What do you think that they do with the money that they accumulate? Do you think they just sit on that money? Or do you think that they fund the different, ideologies and people or organizations that, are aligned with their viewpoints and things of that nature? What do you think that they do with that money? What do you think that they do? What do you think that they're doing with the influence that they have accumulated? What do you think that they're doing with that? They don't never be talking to y'all. They are not talking to us. They're not talking to nobody else but them. They're talking to each other. They are not talking to black people. They're not talking to Indian people, Arab people, Latino people. They barely talking to poor people. They're not really talking to poor whites. Like they're not talking to you. They're not talking to you. They talking to each other. This is why when black people be like, oh yeah, I agree, and they try to go over into those spaces, this is why they look at you like they just stop talking and just look at you. Why are you over here? They be trying to figure it out. This how you get labeled a coon. We're going to talk about that Friday. The black conservative fatigue is real. The black conservative fatigue, that's real. I got black conservative fatigue because y'all don't know how to be conservative without taking on and internalizing white supremacist talking points and thinking and thinking. Y'all don't know how to do that. Y'all don't know how to have conservative viewpoints. You can because if somebody held a gun to my head and said, "Are you liberal or conservative?" and I can't not choose one, then it's like, okay, well, I'm more conservative leaning than I am liberal leaning because, you know what I'm saying, I do think that feminism is a horrible thing to have put in society. I don't agree with just wanton, you know what I'm saying, baby deletions. I don't agree with the rainbow agendas and, you know what I'm saying, things of that nature. And I don't agree with how the educational system and I don't agree with those things. So I have alignment, but I know I'm not one of them, and I don't want to be. See, the part that gets y'all the part that gets y'all called a raccoon is because you agree with that. And then you agree with also the more hyperbolic and more vitriolic forms of those statements too. You take on white supremacy. White folk have never liked raccoons because they see you as traitors and they know they can't trust you. That's why white people don't like you. So when one of the Hodge twins tweeted to the guy that founded that all white neighborhood in Arkansas recently and said, you know what I'm saying, I know that it's all white and ha ha ha, would you let two black in, you know, we got white in our blood and stuff. And he said, God bless the Hodge twins, but no. Boop, 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 boop. No. No. Still a nigger. No. They don't like y'all. They don't like y'all. They don't respect you. They don't respect nobody but who they respect. And you're not in that group. I'm not in that group. None of us are in that group. It's too many of you out here that's dumb. It's too many of you that's dumb. It's too many out here. It's too many of y'all with melanated skin, dumb. You're silly. You're silly. And the worst part about it is it's a spiritual dumbness. It's a spiritual blindness. It's a spiritual deaf, dumb, and blind. You deaf, dumb, and blind to the spirit. And this is a spiritual affair that we are dealing with. This is spiritual warfare that we're dealing with. It's always been that. It's not a new thing. It didn't just happen a week ago. We've always been involved in a spiritual warfare, and you've been too busy being spiritually blind. This is why your thinking is so stunted. You can't pull back and see a bigger picture about what's happening. And when somebody come try to tell you it's a bigger picture, it's a different aspect, things of that nature, you don't want to hear. No. You hear what you want to hear, and you see what you want to see. Had somebody in my chat yesterday when I was talking about his widow, talking about I got a battle cry around the world. Girl, what is you talking about? And somebody kept up in the chat talking about what was she supposed to say? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Because she is now a statistic. She a single baby mama whose man died of gun violence. She a statistic now. An interesting one at that. Ain't that interesting? Ain't that interesting how the poor babies don't got their daddy no more? Poor children. No father in the home. That's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. Highly unfortunate. Highly unfortunate. Highly unfortunate. She has a lot to do aside from standing up somewhere saying these idle threats that don't nobody care about. They and them. You mean he, that white man, that other white man that deleted your husband in front of you? You mean go get him? You mean prosecute him to the highest extent of the law? Is that what you're going to do? Right? Like any other widow would do if her husband was deleted and they know who did it, she would show up at every trial. She would show up and try to make sure that the law is not lenient upon him and that he is tried and convicted and that the judge sentences him to the highest extent that the law will allow. That's what she need to be doing. Baby, Sister Bethshua said we talking about the evils of Mr. Cartwright, but we need to talk about Mrs. Cartwright, who teaches them. After all, the hand that rocked the cradle ruled the world. Sister. You better talk about it. I told y'all about the lost cause. I can't bring it up right now. Put a 1 in the chat if you remember the lost cause when I taught about that. And how the women heavily assisted their men to rewrite, to slowly propagandize and rewrite the loss of the South. and try to spin it like it was a, you know. Thank you, the nice CB. Thank you so much. How they utilize their women, and they women be lockstep. Thank you, Any Hemi. The Daughters of the Confederacy. You remember them. And they heavily assisted their men. They was the ones going door to door and sweet talking and bake sales and raising money and making sure. If the men of that time had cloaks and pointy hats, who you think was sewing them? Think he was sitting? Do you think they had a pointy hat store? The only problem that Mrs. Cartwright had with Mr. Cartwright is she don't like the publishing splits. That's an internal issue. The only problem that Mrs. Cartwright got with Mr. Cartwright is she don't like the publishing splits. It's a 360 deal far as she concerned. And she don't like it. I think I've gotten all of it out that I want to say for today. Thank you. Special thanks to Undani for he was modding his butt off today. And I thank you. Y'all better get on the good foot. It's about to get sticky. This country finna get sticky. The day-to-day life is going to start changing. And there are entities that would love to make that change highly uncomfortable for certain other people. This I told you during this last election. During this last election, I told y'all, I said this is the last battle cry. This is the death rattle. That this is the rally. They rallying. Only problem is for all of that they say we stuck back in the past, they stuck too. See, they think that the rally cry in 2025 is the same as it was in 1825 or the same as it was in 1925, and it's not. It's not. Dynamics are different. The dynamics are very different. I told you they fed a wolf. And they're going to have a lot of dissension within the ranks as well. Because they young folk ain't trying to hear all that old school pointy hat talk. It's a mixed bag with them. It's a mixed bag with them. It's a mixed bag with their young ones. Some of their young ones they don't care about that old school stuff y'all talking about. Y'all still stuck on pointy hat talking points. There's nobody listening to that. It's some that's gonna go with the older generation. They down with it, and then there's some young people like, no. I mean, we can see where you're coming from. We don't completely disagree, but we not really down with everything you trying to do. We ain't really down with it like that. Thank you. Rashad Ali said, Allah warned us of the enemy. You would think their hearts are united, but they are divided. There's dissension in them ranks. It's dissension in them ranks. Trust you me. Believe you me. It is dissension in them ranks. Everybody is not on the same page. Just like all of us ain't on the same page, they don't be on the same page all the time. But I'm about to get on up out of here because I do believe that I have said everything that I wish to say. I want to thank everybody for coming through with me, and I want to thank everybody for their wonderful contributions. I greatly appreciate it. Crimson is back. That cooking that y'all like so well, we back. We back. I can't do my intro and my outro and all of that good stuff. So I just got to end it like a hootenanny. Like don't nobody love me. But I thank you anyway. I appreciate y'all. I see y'all Friday. We're going to go back to our regularly scheduled programming. But we gonna cook. It's a lot of foolishness going on, and we got to sift through it. Okay? I love y'all. All right? Jump down in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Like, share, subscribe to the channel if you have not. Once again, I'm your hostess, The Crimson Cure, and this was my perspective. Bye-bye, Crimsonites.